Hey everybody, Jim the Tabletop Engineer here, and welcome to a new episode. This week I'm going to continue making some terrain for the new Stargrave game that should be out by the time this video releases. Stargrave is a sci-fi skirmish war game that takes place on a 3-foot by 3-foot square table between two opponents. And it is science fiction, so some of the scenarios have terrain requirements that are science fiction in nature. For this week, I want to show you how I'm going to turn this simple water gun, right here, $4 at Big Lots, $4. I'm going to turn this into this, a spaceship that is suitably aged, rusted, and looking like it's seen better days. Let's get to the tabletop and I'll show you how I made this. Now, when you're dealing with something that's already molded, like this water gun here, a lot of the detail work on here is not going to have to be recreated. This is so cool. You know, these look like maybe engines, and it's symmetrical. What's on one side is on the other. But there are parts of this that I'm really not all that, pleased with. Obviously, the trigger has got to go. This big bulb here is easy enough. It just unscrews. I don't like the grip. What I'm thinking of doing is modeling this ship not this way, but this way. Like this is the bottom down here. And what that means is I'm probably going to need to cut off the grip here. I just don't like it. Now, I could, do with some foam and chipboard, I could add features to hide this or integrate it to make it look like it's part of the ship. But honestly, without it, it looks pretty stinking cool. And I also may get rid of the finger guard here, or the trigger guard. It just doesn't really add much to it. So if you can imagine that taken off right there and the handle, what I'm left with is a pretty slick looking spaceship. So I'm going to be pondering on this as I start making some cuts and doing some other detail work to this. So the first thing I'm going to do is head to my garage so I can get my bandsaw and cut off this part, the grip, and also the finger guard. I'll be right back. Always wear eye shields. The cuts are done. As you can see, I chopped off the grip here. Now I'm not going to throw this away because it's actually an interesting shape. One day I may just use this part right here and cut the grip off, or I may find a use for this. But for now, don't ever throw things like this away. You just never know when you're going to use them. This right here is a perfect little tank. I might have to cut the nozzle off here. But for another science fiction build, this would easily look like a chemical tank of some sort. So these are going in the junk drawer. And now what I have to do is figure out, how I want to embellish this. Obviously, I'm going to punch out or cut out the trigger. Probably just pull it off. Let's see. No, there we go. All right, so the trigger's gone. First thing I'm looking at this is the front. All right, so the question would be, where is the bridge, or where are the people that are flying the ship? Where are they seated? What I'm going to do is I'm going to add them up here. It's going to look a little weird, but spaceships are, you don't want it to look like something that's been seen 100 times. So let me go ahead and start working on the details, and I'm going to do the details first because I want to prime this with those detail pieces on there. I'll tell you what, I'm glad I didn't cut that grip away because I could not find anything that gave me the look I wanted. Then I saw this and I thought, I'll just cut the end off like I suggested. It's sort of an interesting shape, as you can see right there. It has this front flat angled piece, which looks like, a viewport. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get this glued on, and then I'm going to construct the cargo pod, and then I'm going to add all these little bits and pieces that I collected from my junk drawer, and we'll see what we can get this thing looking like.
Command received. Activating.
This is what I have to this point, unpainted. I added a chipboard storage container, cargo container, to the rear here. And I made it so that it was the same height approximately, so that this and this will let it sit flat. So I'm going to take it out. I'm going to prime it gray, and then I'll come in and we'll start working on the details. I'm going to try this painted finishes from Folk Art. It's a two-stage system for adding rust. Now, I'm going to be very, very miserly with this. I don't want the ship to look like it's rusted out. I just want a little bit of rust. So it comes in two parts, and it says what you're supposed to do is with a sponge or you're supposed to dab the dark rust, this one, in random places, and then dab the light rust and let them sort of run together. There you go. One beat up old spaceship. Now again, keep in mind this was made from a water pistol that I got from a dollar store. I got it from Big Lots. I cannot guarantee that if you go to Big Lots today that you're going to find this exact water pistol. But hopefully you can find something that has a sort of science fiction-y look to it and do some modifications like I've shown you, maybe cutting off things here and there, adding pieces. And you can make it look new, you can make it look old. It's really up to you. But what's really fun about doing something like this is obviously taking something very inexpensive, very cheap, like the water pistol for $4, and turning it into something for your gaming table while still keeping it under cost. I mean, I added some junk bits that were in my junk drawer. This is chipboard with some other stuff, wooden circles added here and there. So, if I had to estimate, I would say this is probably about $6 in supplies. And it looks I'm really, really happy with it. I'll include some close-up photos at the end of the video so you can get a better look. But it's going to sit flat. It's got these two thrusters, I guess, on the left and right, which give it a spaceship look to it. I hope you liked it. I hope this gives you some inspiration for creating your own spaceship for a science fiction tabletop game. Now, this one was made for Stargrave for one of I think the second or third scenario, cannot recall, but it calls for a spacecraft that has crashed or landed on a planet. in a swampy area. So I'm going to have to get some terrain and bits like that. But this will be the centerpiece for that scenario. So if you decide to do something like this, I would love to see it. I would love to see your final result, and you can post that over at the Tabletop Crafters Guild Facebook page. I am one of the 5 guild masters there, and please tag me on it. If you have something like this, they call them trash bashing. There's a whole Facebook group dedicated to this kind of thing. If you're looking for more inspirations, Google it, look on Facebook for Trash Bash. But there's a Facebook group that does this kind of thing. But I would love to see photos of your designs over at the Tabletop Crafters Guild. Or you can post them on my own Facebook group, the Tabletop Engineer. Either place or both. And I'd love to see what you've come up with. All right, that's all I have for you this week. I would like to remind you to please hit the subscribe button if you are not already doing so. If you have any questions or comments, post them below. I'll be more than happy to try and address them. Please come join us over at the Tabletop Crafters Guild. Join us there where you can post photos, ask questions, and just hang out with like people who like to make terrain for the games they play. All right, that's all I have for you this week. I'll be back next Wednesday with another crafting video. This is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer. Everybody, take care.
Each month, Bexim's Bazaar RPG and Wargaming magazine provides gamers with articles, props to print and cut out for players, mini adventures, new monsters, and much more. Look in the description below for details on how to get a few free issues so you can see what you're missing.